Alrighty, guys, we're here on another episode of the Hardwired podcast. Today we have Christina Michelli, first female on the podcast.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's great to be here, guys.
Mm-hmm. How's your 2026 treating you?
So far, so good. Yeah. Hitting the gym, scheduling.
Did you have a New Year's resolution?
Oh, yeah. Just to be more engaged, be more present. You know, I think we can let that slip away sometimes. So that was the number one. So far, so good. So far, so good. So.
Oh, business-wise.
Ooh, business-wise, yeah. I mean, we're getting right into it, huh?
So, for anyone that doesn't know, you had a farmer's insurance location for a long time. How long?
Oh, gosh. 17 years. 17 years with Farmers as an agent and just under 8 years with State Farm as a producer and employee. So.
And you just recently retired?
Just recently retired, yeah. It's been great.
So those whole years, kind of what was your recap on being in that?
There's so much, honestly. I mean, I could probably do this whole podcast just to tell you everything. You know, first and foremost, I mean, someone can set out to do something. They're going to say, I want to go and be a personal trainer. And they either sit down on their butt or they kind of just kick the idea around, or they actually go out and start learning. You know, they get their credentials, they get clients, you know, however they start building, but they have to first and foremost believe in themselves. So when I first started, you know, being all those years ago, I'm not going to share how old I am, but it was, you know, a couple decades ago, and I didn't really have any perception on myself, who I was going to be. I didn't know that I could be anything, actually, you know, nonetheless, you know, make, you know, more than 6 figures in a year. So when I started off, you know, I had a good support group around me, you know, fellow coworkers of mine, and they had all believed in me, and they said, you know, you could do this. You could do what this guy does. And I said, I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that. Honestly, there's no way possible. And so I took a chance on myself, but I had to first and foremost believe in myself. And that's truly what started the journey. You know, all of the other things that have happened along the way, the valleys, the highlights, you know, just staying, you know, stagnant or whatever the case may be along the way, you know, have been pretty fun. You know, they've been very adventurous, and I could say that with my whole heart that I'm so excited that I was able to be in that journey. The amount of people that I met along the way has just transformed me. It's transformed, you know, my lifestyle, you know.
Totally.
And it's been tremendous to be where I am right now, because
you're glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, I'm 45 years old and I'm retired and I'm doing what I want, and so it's kind of like, yeah, okay. So you need to believe in yourself first and foremost.
How did that come about? In the very beginning, it wasn't through Farmers?
You know, it was kind of interesting how it all happened. I'm glad you asked. You know, my mom was an account executive for a title company, and she was well known. You know, shout out to my mom, because, you know, she has really poured the foundation of where I started. And she was offered a position somewhere at State Farm, and they said, you know, you'd be great at this job. And she says, no, you know, I don't want to leave my job. And she said, but I have a daughter that would be interested, or I could get her to be interested. And sure enough, I met with one of the agents there.
How old were you then?
Oh, I was 21.
Oh, you're young.
21, yeah. So, yeah, 21. So, I met with the agent, and, you know, we had a great connection, and he liked me. He hired me. You know, I started off at the front desk, you know, which was in itself, you know, very nerve-wracking, because I wanted to do a good job. I had a new kid. My daughter was less than 6 months old. So that kind of, her turning the job down was my opportunity, and that kind of just where it started. And I kind of just grew from there. I grew out of that office, and then I started at another one, and I grew out of that office too, which by then I had double licenses. And then,
And when you say grew out, what does that mean?
oh, I mean, the best way to describe it is like when you hit the ceiling and you can't go any more higher.
But when you were working at these, was there like somebody like it was their office and you were just like kind of under them?
Yes.
But
yeah.
or you don't have like you sell insurance for them?
I would, yeah. So there, I mean, in different positions, I did different things. So when I first started, I was a receptionist and took calls and took payments.
Then you grew out of that.
Oh, yeah.
And then
real quick. And then into the second position, it was kind of like I was starting to learn how to sell and what it took to be sales, be a professional, trained to be a professional. And then I started with a young agent who was like newly to the business, maybe 2 years in. And I just kind of established a bunch of different organization, the way that he organized his office. I helped him do that. And I just kind of grew out of that too,
And then it went over to Farmers? Or how did the Farmers come about?
Yeah. So the way that it came about with Farmers, thankfully, is I had hit the ceiling at that agency. And I mean, some people might say, well, why'd you move around so many times? But it was all part of the journey. And it was to just try to keep growing and growing. So I had went to this particular agent and I said, I feel like I'm doing a lot, and I want to get a raise, And he said no, which to me at the time was kind of like, oh, that's a bummer,
But it was part of the process.
Part of the process. And a friend of mine came to me one day and very shortly after that and said, I received this postcard in the mail and it's to be a farmer's agent. And I said, no, there's no way. I was 6 months pregnant when I received that card from my friend. And I said, there's no way that I'm going to go meet with these people, that they're going to say, oh, this person who's 6 months pregnant can do this job. So I decided to call. And of course, meeting somebody over the phone was actually, they liked me instantly and they wanted to meet me. And I said, absolutely, And so when I met them in person, they saw me and they were excited to see me, but they were also confused because I was pregnant, on my second kid. And I said, well, it just depends because I believe in myself. And so this particular person that I met with said, I believe in you and I think that you can do this.
Are these like franchises or is it corporate or how does Farmers work?
Farmers is just individually owned. Yeah. So if you are part of the company, but you are an independent agent.
But like explain that breakdown because I don't even know. Because I know you have, it's like Farmers, Machili location. And then there's like other people with their location.
Yeah. So I was with Farmers and I have my own like license. So I still have like a small book of my own. But yeah, there's different companies different agents that have their own agencies. So yeah, when I went to start with Farmers though, I was going to be my own agent. So it was kind of like going from a customer service person over to a producer and then over to an agent. So it was definitely a huge leap of faith.
So in one office, there's only one like agent.
There's only one, yeah.
And that was you,
yeah,
in your spot.
Yeah, in my spot, yeah. And I started from the ground up.
And then you pretty much sell the Farmers insurance, but you said you have your own too.
No, I'm not with Farmers anymore, and currently.
No, but back then, like whenever.
Back then, yeah. Back then it was all Farmers. And whatever products they offered through outside carriers. But it was the best move, absolutely was the best move for me. I hit a bunch of different records like for myself and in my district within like a 3-month time period. So I was signing a contract, 5 days before my son was born.
Damn.
It was pretty crazy, the whole entire process. And, all of that just stemmed from determination. Along the way, I had met some really great people, had some really great mentors along the way as a producer, as a customer service rep. But I was ready to take on whatever I could to improve myself. So,
Whenever you first started, did they like kind of help you get set up? Like, how do you have like all the people under you? Like, did you have to hire them? Like, just,
oh yeah, everything starts from scratch.
but did they help with any of that?
Yeah, there's district offices out there that they'll set you up with whatever you like. Be involved with your starting of your business as much as you like.
Are they pretty lenient, like on how you want to run it? Like, if you say, "Hey, I
Yes.
just want 2 people
Yeah.
and me," can you
Well,
do that?
There's a bunch of leniency. Yes, there's a lot of leniency. I highly recommend, somebody who is doing good as a producer, doing well as, that is wanting to, grow, to look into something like that. I did. And for me, it paved the way to where I am now. So, and wasn't the most easiest of things, obviously, because starting from the ground up is just like you started with no clients,
Mm-hmm.
and now you have a bunch.
Yeah.
When starting out, did you have like a mentor that guided you?
Yes, yeah. So when I was at State Farm, the agent that I worked for, Tom Wright, he was really good with dealing with me. I would say he was very nurturing, and I really highly valued his mentorship. He would, take me, aside from my normal customer service duties, he would sit there and just teach me how to make calls on the phone and how to sell, basically.
Did that come easy to you, or did you find it just really
yes.
difficult?
I like I have been in the top 1% of
But
the
starting
company.
out,
I mean, he told me from the beginning, like it's all like part of my journey. So he says, to me one day, you could sell ice to an Eskimo, and I didn't really understand what that meant at the time, but now I do, so it's just all of those people that even, my farmer's journey, I had so many different mentors and different support units that were part of my journey that, it's just so incredible to have been able to kind of just meet everyone and the community too. So
I want to know some of the best ways that you got people to buy insurance from you.
oh yeah, well, I mean, just like we're having a conversation now, and this is unilateral across the board for anybody who's in business, honestly. I've trained other agents as well, and I've always told them, if you do not differentiate yourself against your competition, you will just simply blend in with the rest of whoever you are. If you're the trainer, if you're that mortgage broker, if you're that real estate agent, if you don't do anything different, nobody's going to remember who you are. And, obviously being out there in the community is also really important. It's critical, and you have to love your community.
So how did you differentiate yourself?
Oh, I mean, I set up different things. These are like little tiny things that make a world of a difference. I would take out like treats to people, I would treat their customers, really well. Or I would treat my centers of influence really, really well, like their clients, and just establishing myself in that way. So, making sure that you're staying, um, you're staying educated on everything that you have to offer through the company, making sure that you're that go-to person for whatever the business is that you're in. Like you, for example, or even Sam, you guys have to stay on top of like what's up
Mhm.
and coming, what is now, what is, relative to everything that you're doing. And so, that was just part of what I wanted to do. I wanted to just stay in the know. I wanted to be that person that people in the community could count on. And it took some time,
Was
because it
there
didn't.
was there like a specific type of insurance that you loved to sell the most?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm a I mean, all lines are wonderful, especially when you can help a customer out, because you have those customers that have bad experiences. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had a bad experience with an insurance company, or hopefully you haven't. But any of the products, but I specialized in life insurance. That was one of the best policies that
Was it
the
easy to
company.
sell or hard?
You know, um, I don't really call it selling. I think it's more of like a professional advice given to someone who, depending on their situation, their financial situation, like if they needed protection from, or for if they passed away for their family, like money to leave for them or to pay for a mortgage or whatever the case may be. So yeah, all of that was really fun.
Most people that you would I'm still gonna say sell that you would sell
Yeah.
that insurance to, would they be coming from like another policy, or you would have to they would come from like having nothing
I mean, a lot of times,
for the most part?
it was current clients, and other times it was new clients. But that's part of doing your job. Like, and again, this is like a across the board discussion about being in business. Is if you do your job well, your clients aren't going to go somewhere else
Yeah.
to look for something. So, in your particular field, um, somebody may realize that you're a landscaper and whatever you do, but maybe they don't know you design landscaping, and so that's up to you to make sure that you tell them that that's what you
Also,
offer, because whatever you leave on the table is up for grabs to somebody else. So those are the.
so you would do that, like just be calling people that were already doing
Yeah.
business with you to kind of sell them life insurance.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I did was very organic, and organic in the sense of, we're just having a discussion, and then you bring up that you have a new kid, and then it goes to, okay, like, how are we gonna make
So a lot
sure
of your
that this
business
is
was
taken
like that, because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I get a lot of calls from insurance people around Porterville, and like they're like just calling all day. Like
Yeah.
you would say you didn't do much of that.
Not really.
No.
Mm-mm. No, I honestly, in the 24 years that I was an insurance agent, I maybe set up to like do cold calling, like maybe a handful of times. It's all organic. This community is based off of, who you know, not what you know. So it's kind of, that's the way that it works.
But in those 20 plus years, you've done advertising. I would
Yeah.
assume what would be the best.
Advertising, yeah, absolutely. Being consistent with your advertising is probably the most important. If you're going to advertise somewhere, I would highly recommend that you stick with it and be consistent with it. I did a lot of social media, we did I mean, I wouldn't say that we did a whole lot of social media, but we had a lot of community outreaches. I mean, we
Giving
would.
back.
I remember
Yes.
in high school you had a banner up in the gym.
Oh yeah, thank you, Diego, for making me feel old. I'm just joking.
That wasn't too long ago.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, I was reminded about that the other day too. So yeah, part of that, is being out there, being noticed.
Do you think as you got older, it got easier to like kind of network like that? Because right now, most of the people that I guess I know, like around my age, like they barely even have a house, if anything. Like, I'm not gonna like sell them any work, or even I guess their parents. But like, do you feel like as you got older, it was a little easier,
Well,
or you knew more people, maybe?
again, I think these are all good things to talk about when it comes to business, because it stretches far across, business wise. The more confident you become, the more that you can talk to anybody. If you have the desire to grow and you have the desire to go out there, you could start door to door, or however it is for you. But even for us, when I started, I went door to door.
Oh yeah,
Believe it or not. Oh yeah.
dang.
That was really fun. A lot of door hangers and roller skates and things like that.
But yeah, I think that what you said is true. Like once you sound confident in like what you have, it's like game changing. Because I kind of feel like that too. I remember I would always be like nervous trying to go do an estimate or something, and now it's like I already know what stuff costs, and it's like I just upfront about it, and I'm not like this maybe that, and it's just like this is what it is, blah 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 blah, this date, and then it just sounds like you kind of know what you're talking about, and it's a lot.
Fake
they
it till you
trust
make it. Yeah. I think that's.
But you can't. I feel like it's even hard to fake it. Like people could still smell it on you if you're faking it, unless you're
if they're really.
I guess if you're really good.
Yeah, if they're really good. I mean, just as like if I could sell confidence in a bottle, like I'd be making a killing.
Yeah, but I feel like I used to think I was like, oh, like I would say 2 years after, like in business, I was like, okay, I think I sound pretty confident. But like 2 years after that, I'm like,
you
okay,
sound confident to me.
Yeah, but you didn't know me 4 years ago.
You sold me on my backyard and my front yard. So
yeah, but I feel like the only way you get that is just by putting in the reps.
Yes. Yeah.
Some people can get it faster probably than other people.
And you guys have developed a really good system as far as like social media is concerned. I enjoy watching you guys. So to me, that's like the start. I feel like maybe possibly your audience is a little bit different. Maybe they don't have houses. Maybe they, have whatever. But those are also centers of referrals for you too.
Yeah.
Do you know
so
somebody?
That's why I have to like advertise more. Like the Instagram stuff. I do have like a lot of older audience on there. But I was saying like people that I talk to on a daily basis, they're usually a little younger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But that's why I have to like try a little harder to reach people that I really
need. Do you have a parent? Do you have a something? Didn't you ever watch that show on TV? The makeover shows. Have you ever seen those? Like where
like the homes? Yeah.
Homes. And I mean, part of that would be like the landscaping.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, I could totally see you doing that. Like,
I know. I think we've talked about that. Like giving away a landscaping.
Then the community would know that you're here for sure.
Yeah.
You'd stick out. See? Those are all things that, you're taking money aside. You're taking money out of the equation, and you are pouring your heart into what matters most to you for your community.
Yeah.
And that is what will set you apart. That's what people love. They'll stick with you for a long time. They'll be your source of other people that they'll bring in, other people that they'll recommend to you. So it here in this in the Central Valley, especially the Central Valley, there is a huge market, and if you capture the hearts of the people, you can do big things here.
Because do you think it's kind of small, not too small, but like it's small enough to where you can stick out?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, do you think it'd be the same if you're like in a big city?
Oh, it's tough to tell. I mean, because if you're in a big city, there's
a lot of opportunity.
So many like landscapers and so many videographers and insurance people. So you'd have to probably set yourself apart too, but probably to a super like
niche.
Yeah, just create that.
Yeah, but I like I do like the idea of just being like a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we live in the Central Valley and we can just like commute up there and like see what it's like for a weekend or a week or something.
Yeah.
But man, the Central Valley has something spectacular that no other
Really?
county has, I believe.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that honestly, if you think about even just looking back on my career, I had, close to, 5,500 households that, people, they trusted me for their insurance. So that's pretty big, you know, and with that, produced a lot of opportunity for me and for my family. And so it's absolutely Central Valley is up for grabs for whoever wants to take it. I mean, who
Yeah.
says that you have to, you know, um, have a small business only, Um, I was talking to an entrepreneur yesterday and he says, I'm so busy. And he's like, I'm so busy and I want to just
Who was it?
grow out. Maybe I'll ask him to be on the podcast. He's a chiropractor in Porterville. And he says, I want to grow. I don't want to do all this work. I want other people to come to work for me feed them business so that they can grow. And then this just becomes a really well-oiled business. And I said, well, what are you going to do? And he said, I got to open up other offices. I got to do that. And it's true. Like he wants to set up in the Central Valley.
Yeah.
He was telling me that, they brought in different people from other parts, like up north and down south. And people are not attracted to the Central Valley because there's nothing special about the valley. But I do feel like we have something incredible here. And it just needs to be, marketed pretty well. So, but if you, again, as a business owner, if you're not putting your heart and your time and your soul really into what you're doing, it's going to show. And you're just going to blend in with everybody else.
All right, guys, quick break. If you found any value in this episode or past episodes, make sure to give us a follow. Thanks for watching.
Now back to the episode.
I had a question about you giving back. Is that something that you would recommend other businesses to start doing more often?
Yeah, absolutely. When I had my agency, I would set up a calendar for the whole year. And with that, came along with, what I'm going to spend, my budget and, the time frame. So that way I would know what I was going to spend for the year, as well as, when I would need to start marketing for the event or, when I needed to purchase items. So I did a lot of different outreaches, and I highly recommend, wherever your heart is where you should give back. I was very excited to help out, less fortunate kids in the community. So I put together several different backpack events. And these backpack events included, providing, free backpacks for hundreds of people or hundreds of kids and teenagers, I should say as well, with school supplies and, different things like that as far as loving on them is concerned. I for my customers that I had, we put together, events where we were just loving on the people, provided food, DJs, DJ. We had a couple food trucks that would come out, and it just kind of just set up. Again, we're just loving on the people that trust us. That is something that I really believe that other entrepreneurs should really focus on as well, is the people that do trust them, that they give back to them in a certain way. It doesn't have to be monetary, but, showing appreciation.
Yeah. Were you expecting returns on that or no?
No.
You just did.
No.
And you set all that budget like beforehand?
Yeah, beforehand. Yeah. Again, I wasn't in the business to like make a whole bunch of money. All that just kind of happened organically. I really just wanted to help my community. I was tired of hearing people were getting mistreated by their insurance companies, and I wanted to be set apart too. So yeah, but going back to the outreaches, you can set up whatever you'd like. We were at a lot of the events, that were put on through the city of Porterville or Exeter or Lindsay, Farmersville. So we basically branched out wherever we could help. And, so there's a list of things that you can do. There's always people that need help. I mean, from our perspective, the day in and day out, we've got a roof over our head, we've got clothes on our back, we've got food in the fridge, we have money in the bank, but there's a lot of people out of our scope that we can't see daily that they need additional help. And, providing those, a kid with brand new pairs of shoes and clothes and taking them shopping, or, providing just the small stuff like a backpack, or even just a food to eat. One of the events that I did that really just touched my heart was one year when we delivered Thanksgiving dinners to less fortunate people. And instead of the traditional, like you come and eat and we provide food for you, we put together, and I say we as in myself and my team at the time, went to the store, bought the whole fixings, turkey dinner, pie, stuffing, whatever is typical to the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And we delivered it to them. I mean, it's such a small way to show that we care for them, and they're not even our clients. They weren't my clients. I didn't have any requirements as far as that was concerned, only that somebody recommended them based off of their need. And I absolutely was so touched by some of the people. I mean, some people cried. They were so thankful. I mean, a whole turkey, and again, it seems small, but I don't care about that. It's the person that I made a connection with that I care about.
I feel that too. Yeah. Whenever we would do like the free cleanups or something, like I've like knocked on a door that's like been like super messy trailer, like a trailer in the trailer park, and it's like this old lady that said like she had nobody to do it for her, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's like something so small for me. It's like 30 minutes of the team just cleaning up, but it's like I know it's like a big thing for her.
Oh, absolutely. Did she bake you cookies?
No.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, those are some
like we do it for the content initially. Like we're like, oh, let's go get a nice video, see if we get some views. But then when it's like we're really doing it, I'm like, oh dang, this is pretty cool.
It is, and your heart transforms into, if you do something and you really don't expect anything back, I mean, I know that you will be blessed, and that's just the way that things work, So if you're new to business and you are struggling with getting clients, set up something in the community and just love on them. It can be as little or as big as you want it to be. If you set up a calendar, you can base it around the different holidays. Yeah. And that's not hard to do. A lot of the people that work in the community as well, like educators, law enforcement, firefighters, all of those type of people, they're
big influencers too.
Yeah,
they have people looking up to them.
Yeah, they're big community influencers, but more than that, they too need to be appreciated. Yeah, and it's a different way. It's like, obviously you're not going to walk to somebody who needs a turkey dinner and tell them thank you for everything you've done for us. It's different, but it also is part of that that journey, like you're wanting to help the community,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, I would recommend that, you know, don't have to focus so much on yourself. Focus on the people that you want to include in your journey,
Yeah.
you know, because we're just on this journey
Yeah.
together. So
You mentioned your team. So you also had a team kind of behind you or under you. How was that? Kind of managing employees?
oh yeah, well,
Because a lot of people don't get to that. They like owner operator
there's so many different like
levels.
facets to that. I mean, being in business, obviously, for growth, you have to learn how to duplicate yourself. And you're right. Some people don't make it past being able to duplicate themselves. So they are struggling constantly because there's no true way of, handing off like work to someone else. There's no delegation, and you become the source. And that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you. It doesn't help your family. So the sooner you can duplicate yourself, the better,
Was it easy for you? Because a lot of people have like employee nightmares. Like, did you have to go through
Oh, yeah.
a lot of shit?
Yeah. I had a lot of employee nightmares. Yeah.
Tell us about some.
Oh, I mean, it's really difficult. I'll be very generalized, as a business owner, you have these expectations, someone comes in to interview with you and they put on the best show ever.
Knock it out the park.
Yeah. Like, I can't wait to have you work for me. And then they're just the worst.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of it, that's absolutely part of it. You're going to make those mistakes. You absolutely will make those mistakes. One of the things that I learned later in my career was I wasn't going to hire based off of my heart. And that's also something for unilaterally across to other businesses is.
So you do it off of what?
Well, you do it based off of experience. You're going to call those references and find out what happened, or what didn't happen. You're going to put that person on a 30-day trial, no strings attached type of thing, so it's all part of the journey. Sadly, there was some that were better than others, but mostly, there was a lot of hardworking people that I worked with. And
so right now, if you were to do it again, you had to find a team. Would you do it a lot easier? Did you get really good at kind of?
I would say I don't know if anybody's ever really the best at that as far as finding employees are concerned. If I'm being completely honest and transparent, you can throw a lot of money at somebody and they'd be the worst.
Yeah.
So
what are some red flags or some green flags that you're gonna find in somebody, or where to find these people?
Oh, I mean, someone who is very eager to work for you is a green flag. Obviously, the way they come in. If they like to work in a team environment, that is something that if you're looking to grow other staff members, you have to be able to work in a team. So there are a lot of people who are very closed off to working with a team because they're very focused on themselves and how well they do. But it just depends. If you want like one superstar, that's fine. But if you want two superstars, those superstars got to play nice together. Yeah. So I feel like, as far as what I'm doing right now, I don't really need a team.
No, I know. I want to know some skills because I need to find good people.
Oh, yeah. Well, people who show up on time,
I've heard people say like, it's kind of different for like blue collar people because like they just want to work. Like they don't want to do stuff online, but people have like the guys like do some like, hey, fill out this email, reply to this and fill out this form and then show up to the interview. And like, they can't even do that. You know what I do? I get so many calls like on a weekly basis of people saying, hey, are you hiring? I'll be like, yeah, send me your info through text and then I'll put you on the list. And like, not even half of the people do that.
Yeah.
Like, are they eager? No.
Yeah.
Like they can't even, they just want me to be like, yeah, come tomorrow. Like that's what they want.
I mean, I've learned from the best, shout out to Troy Korsgaden. He's also been somebody that's been influential in my career. And, he's always taught like be, slow to hire, quick to fire,
Mm-hmm.
And he's written books about all that stuff, if you want to check that out. But I mean, just absolutely built different empires, he built an empire, it's still long lasting. And, but no, I mean, for whatever you feel is your particular, like pet peeve that you don't like about people or in an employee, I mean, you can make allowances for them. If they don't show up on time, you can give them warnings and things like that. But honestly, people who want to be there, who want to show up on time, who want to grow themselves and like be educated, in the insurance industry, getting a license is very, very important. And to other agents, that would probably be a clear indicator that somebody is really interested in a position, So I would say you build your perfect employee in your own mind, and if somebody seems like they fit the bill, then, tailor some questioning around that, give them some time on the job to see how hard they work, and slowly invest into them. Part of you growing your business is that you're also going to like grow
As an individual.
them as an individual too. Yeah, because they're gonna be a little Diego. They're gonna be a little Sam. They're going to basically emulate everything that you've taught them.
If they come with no experience. I've had some times where somebody will come that comes from like a bad company and they bring bad habits.
Yeah.
And I prefer to just have them fresh so I can mold them.
Yes. So that's a good and a bad.
Yeah.
I've seen it be positive and I've seen it be negative. You can, what does the saying say? You can't train an old dog new tricks. Sometimes people just don't want to learn and they will be stuck in their ways. Those are people you really don't want to have a relationship with in general, even as a friend or whatever center of influence. It's hard to make them happy, So just like I said, if you're tailoring a perfect employee in your mind, you can start there and then see where it goes. But yeah, there's good and bad. There really is good and bad. And as a business owner, there is not going to be a day that goes by that you are not going to be stressed out about employees. If you have anybody on your roster, I mean, there are people who have a hard time leaving their own personal issues at the door. And that's one of the things that, as an employer that I was really
experiencing.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, an employee is just going to have to want to grow with you, and they have to be mature enough to leave their own situations at the door and really, really invest into you. And that is a big one, put that on the little as a bookmark is, if they're not willing to grow with you and that they don't think that your business is all that matters to them, like they should be 100,000,000% invested in you versus themselves, get rid of them, because those people are always going to be about themselves. But if they are invested in you, like, hey, they wait, they show up every day and they like to clean, they like to, obviously you're in a different situation, but they like to be a part of stuff, clean the machines, instead of leaving it dirty or whatever the case may be that you find that you don't want them to do or to do. If they're not invested in that, then you need to sever the relationship.
In my experience, I feel like the younger people are always a little harder for like that stuff. Like they want to clock in and out.
Yeah.
And the older guys are like usually like taking it more serious. Yeah. Do you think it's because I haven't found good enough young guys?
No, I think you can train them up, train them up in the ways that you want them to be. If you give them a lot of attention and they're still not listening and responding or changing and growing, then obviously it's not going to work.
Something else is like they have to have like they're gonna mimic somebody else. So if you have like garbage on your bad apples or B's on your team, like they're just gonna be a B too. Like,
Oh my gosh, that was
like A players do not want to work with C players.
Oh, that was one of the worst things that I dealt with as a business owner. Yeah, it's the
Like the culture.
the staff dynamics, yeah, the culture, the office culture. Being such a high producing agency that I was, we were nonstop, and it's hard to play, nice when people are not doing their job. It's kind of like if you are not with the team, you're like falling behind and you're against the team. So that falls also unilaterally with other businesses as well. If somebody is weighing you down and you are constantly, giving them a lot of constructive criticism and that they are not like adhering to that criticism, the constructive criticism, I should say, it's something that it's either a training issue or it's an issue of the person, because
Bad hiring.
yeah, well, yeah, bad,
Ultimately.
yeah, bad placement.
Yeah.
Because your job is to provide that nurturing for them, but if they absolutely just cannot move past that, then it's like, hey, maybe
Quick to fire.
yeah, maybe you should be in another field. If you're not like, if you don't like being outside in the grass, maybe you shouldn't be working in DC.
Me and Sam listened to this guy, Alex Hormozy, and he was telling the story of like one of the businesses he bought. Like the middle management was like trash. Like their standards were low, but they had the whole like even more team under them, and like they literally had to just fire everyone from like middle down just to like reset everything.
Yeah, I don't want to be known for somebody that has done that, but I've done that a few times. Yeah.
It's just like, hey, let's just freaking
start from scratch, literally.
Dang.
And still hit all those numbers and still be in the top 1%. I'm thankful that God was able to make
it work.
Yeah, because it was pretty interesting.
Was it like kind of like a breath of fresh air when you can get like a new rotation in and like kind of like set the tone again?
Scary.
Because I feel like I've felt a couple times where like I've like wish I could do that, but I haven't done that. But it's just like
don't tell your people you're gonna.
No, that's just in the moment. Like I'm like fuck. I wish I could just restart, but no, I'm not.
Yeah, you call me next time. I'll walk you through it. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, when you I've had different experiences with how that happened, but I always see it for the best. It always happens for the best in whatever way it happens. But obviously, you go through a time of fear. Like, oh, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna be able to do this? But thankfully, I feel like I kind of knew my stuff, and I had known my stuff for years. So when that happened, it was a very, quickly got out of that phase and then, hired people on, trained them again, and you just start all over again. There's nothing wrong with it. There are other companies that they keep the same employees for years, decades, and they don't have any real issues, but it's all depends on what you're seeking to do. I've been in the business, with other agents who have done the same thing too, and they have to start all over again, and then they do well, and it's kind of just like a reminder.
Does that ever have you ever had it to where it kind of helps you, like as far as like I remember at the beginning I had a couple employees that only knew how to do that particular thing, and like they hadn't trained anybody, but like once they're gone, it like forces me to like find a system to like train the new people.
Yeah, absolutely. Systems are huge. Systems are whether you are a non-systems person or a systems person, you should have some kind of
Yeah,
system.
but like kind of like having people in and out kind of like also like forces you to have that.
Yeah, you could write.
Because you can't like one particular task can't just revolve over one person.
Yes. Yeah, because it drains them. Maybe that's why the job was too hard for them. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the job was too hard, and there wasn't enough, delegation, or needed
Just
to have separation of what they do versus what someone else can do, or you needed to hire another person. All of that. It does take a little bit, like, to get used to, and it does take a little bit of, thinking about. But systems are everything.
yeah, I remember I'd feel like, dang, I would hate when this guy leaves. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then they leave, and it's like I just figured out. I'm like, oh, well, there goes that fear.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of being a business owner is having fear too, because you're like,
yeah,
how
but
am I
sometimes
gonna do it this month.
that's sometimes mistakes are like actually good. Like if I've broken a window. We've broken a lot now, but like in the beginning, like the first one I broke, like I never wanted to break one. I'm like, oh, never want to break one. Like I'm always like kind of thinking
Scared
that in the
too.
back. And then when it happened, then I figured out like what we do. Then it's like, oh, okay, well that's how that happens. And then I'm like no longer fearing that.
Yeah.
Or like I have yet to like have to deal with like a workers' comp issue, but like when it comes, or another thing, we can also transition to like IRS audits. Like I'm scared of an audit right now, not because I have much to hide, but just I've never gone through it and I don't want to go through it. But maybe after I go through, I'm like, fuck it, bring it on. Then I know how to battle it.
Well, I mean, again, part of that is having a good team around you. So whoever you decide to help you, with
Go
your
through it.
taxes, and will have provided like a certain type of systems and things like that. It's all about how you're gonna build this empire. You're built, like, whether you see it or not, you're building an empire. You're building a legacy, for the little Diegos that come along, or whatever the case may be. Children and employees. You're building that legacy for them.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be some tough times along the way. There's gonna be times, like you said, you're gonna break a few windows, but you fix the window and you move on. And hey, guess what? You probably are gonna break another window.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. But that's okay. You know how to handle it, and that's part of being in business for yourself. Is not a lot of times they can mentor you on, the big stuff. But sometimes that little stuff happens and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay.
Yeah. But then the problems just get bigger. Like that's just like small problems in the beginning. Later on, they get bigger.
I think that is it correlates with, who said it, Biggie? More money, more problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. More business, more problems.
Bigger business, bigger problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. And it is. But that's where you draw the line, and you create a hierarchy, create who's in charge of your employees, who's in charge of, you hire an office manager, you hire 2 office managers, whatever the case may be. You create schedules, you put yourself on a schedule, you put everybody on a schedule, all of that is very important. Again, I'm a systems person. I like organization. It's something that I felt like was one of my strong suits. And it helped me in business because, if somebody came in for insurance, I was able to, hopefully sell them a product at the time, or reach back out to them in a couple days to,
refer them.
Well, to sell them ultimately. But that's why I'm saying systems will help you. Like, I got to, this date I got to do that. This day I got to do that.
I'm kind of big on that too. And it's almost easy for me because like in the landscaping, nobody's good at that. They just want to work. Most owners, like unless they own like a big company, but most like small businesses, like they're just in the field and they want to work, and their mindset can't switch from like doing that to like.
But who's to say that you don't need a business manual or a handbook in your business? Those are things that people can do easily. And it just starts off
Yeah.
as like a system, like, okay, if there is a broken window, what do we do? Okay, that's page 16
Hopefully-
in the
yeah.
handbook. You know what I mean? Or if Diego's not around, or if somebody gets injured, what do we do? That's all a part of organization. And yeah, I don't know what degree of listeners there are or viewers that there are, but start off organized. If you set yourself up, you're setting yourself up for success first and foremost if you are organized. So, maybe I'll come back for another podcast and I'll ask you again if you have a handbook, and then you'll say yes. And
I do have one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's excellent.
My bookkeeper put me on.
Amazing. See?
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm telling you. I'm good on systems. Like I like to have stuff structured.
yeah. And it makes it,
And it's easy because most people don't.
yeah, you can't, going back to the first thing that I said when I came out is believing in yourself. That's probably the next step, is like creating organization systems and, a schedule for yourself, and, what it is that you're really going to do, and how you're going to do it. You need to plan, you really need to plan. If your dream is to, be a personal trainer, and you want, I don't know how many, 100 clients in a month. I don't know how that works, but, then you have to figure out ways to market to that, go out and meet people, when you talk to people, have an organic conversation. It's definitely possible. I don't believe you have to be a closer to have a good business.
What do you mean by closer? Like know how to sell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just whatever you think is best is fine, but whatever I think is better. So that's the closing mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Diego doesn't like that. So.
But I wanted to touch back on your farmer's career. You were very highly awarded during that run span. What was your motivation to work so hard?
Oh my gosh. So many things. First and foremost, creating a legacy for my kids was number one. I wanted to make sure that they had everything that they needed, that they didn't ever really need to want anything because they had everything. So that was the first thing. And then, as business started, it was kind of just like chugging along, and I would see people high up in the the small percentage of high top agents, top producers, and I kind of just set a goal, 1 year, and I said to myself, I think that I want to do that. How am I going to do that? And so, I met some amazing people along the way that helped me, in my journey to becoming, a better agent. We started to focus on the product that I felt was the most important. And we really just kind of, set up a goal, and it just kind of happened. But I mean, I think I counted like 24 achievement clubs. So that equates to 24 different locations that I've been, in, going from Canada to the United States.
That stuff kind of motivates you, huh? Because
Award.
it's like,
yeah.
But what about seeing other people like do better than you? Like you're trying to you're like one of,
Yeah.
You see kind of like that you can do more.
Oh yeah. So I would say that there are tests out there that you can take to find out what drives you. Some people like the awards, some people like the accolades with the awards, some people like the money, whatever. And for me, I like the trophy, and I like the name, up there. And because it just, for me, it represented a small, little, tiny community that person's name was up on the stage, up on the lights, in the lights, it came from a person who there's only 60,000 people in Porterville.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other people that were up there, they all had way more people in their communities, and they just had bigger advantages. So yeah, part of being motivated was that. And then you get like to the point where you're just like, okay, I've hit all the ceilings, and now I just want to pour back into people. And that's what I did for a long time. To this day, I will take calls or, be willing to, consult someone on how to deal with their staff or what they should do to build up their business. But like pouring back into other people, that was part of, the motivating factor as well. And then, you get to the ugly part of the business where you get all the haters and stuff. And, that was one of the biggest drives that I had in my last like 10 years
Really?
of being in business. Yeah.
You just want to like freaking shut them up.
Yeah.
Give them something to talk about.
Yeah. And everybody who copied, tried to copy or emulate, it was like the biggest compliment in the world, So, I've shared that with other people before, and I've shared it on being on main stage, because also part of those achievement clubs, I was asked to, give back to other agents. And, I was a speaker in multiple locations. And it just was one of the bigger motivating factors. It was like, hey, we're this small agency and they want to be like us, but they can only say bad things. So, or talk down or to whatever. And it was kind of like, okay, we're going to do this now. Guess what? We're going to show you in so many different ways. And I oftentimes had a team they were all on the same page. Everybody was kind of like, hey, we're from a small community, but we're going to get, the Michelli agency to the prestigious 1% of the company, which with that, you'd get like trips to crazy places, first class, airfare,
Dang.
all that stuff. Yeah. A bunch of gifts.
But you don't even do it for that. You're doing it to shut up the haters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
have your name up there.
Yeah. But more than anything, I can tell you that, I know I say like, oh, to shut them up, but it's also a very like humbling experience. Like, shoot, the Michelli agency name is up there and we're from a very small community and we're not trying to like do anything flashy or anything like that. We're just staying relevant. We're just staying relevant to the industry. We're staying connected to our community, and we are just loving what we do. And all of that stuff just happened organically, So that was the fun part, I think that, being retired now is kind of like my motivation is just to enjoy life. I'm motivated to, find that next destination for vacation,
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask, what about like work-life balance during those years where you're just grinding? Like you wake up thinking about work, go to sleep thinking about work. Like, do you believe in work-life balance? There's people that don't.
Okay. So I literally, I don't know what year we're in, 2026, 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. I was invited to Reno and I gave 3 seminars on work-life balance. And it is kind of interesting, okay? Like I've had a different kind of start. I was the person who was the breadwinner in the family, and I spent a lot of hours at work, 8 to 12 hours some days. Weekends are not for being off, they're for working most of the time. So I would say that in the short answer of it is I did put a lot of time into my agency, and the work-life balance was not really there in the beginning. If I could do it all again, I probably wouldn't do it differently. But the people who are listening and who are watching this, they have to do what works for them. If you can't have that work-life balance and you are the breadwinner and you have to put in all those hours, well, then you probably should hire somebody. You should probably look to hire someone because they're going to help you, put in the hours as well. If you need more than one person, then do what you got to do. If you've got to take out a loan to make that happen, then do it. You have to invest every single penny that you have extra into your business because that money that you invest, you will greatly, your ROI is huge.
Yeah, it is. And that's kind of what I was asking because I almost don't. I used to believe in it, and like I would find myself kind of forcing myself to take time off, but then like I'm not enjoying that time off. Like if I want to be working, like I'm just gonna work.
Yeah, if you enjoy working and that's what you want to do.
Who says I have to fucking stop after 60 hours a week? Like who says that?
I mean, only your doctor. Like
Screw what he says. Why?
If he says you need to.
Why?
I mean,
the only person, maybe my wife, future wife.
Yes.
Or kids.
Yeah, shout out to the future wife.
But other than that, I don't know. I just gonna work. If that's what I want to do, then why am I gonna force myself to be on the beach?
Yeah.
Thinking about work.
Yeah. I've met all different types of people that have made it work. But ultimately it's up to you. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say too. Like, but there are people who really love their time off. I have a buddy who he only works Monday through Thursday, and he intentionally set his business up to where he's completely off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because he really values that, and so I respect it.
Yeah, and it works for him, and that's all that's important. If he wants to duplicate himself, he can hire somebody or whatever. I'm not sure if he has somebody, but I didn't really have a choice to do that. But now I do understand overworking, but it was all necessary. And I reached the point where if I didn't want to work, then I knew that I needed to hire somebody. So I think you touched on that a little bit earlier, like where do you find employees? And I don't think I addressed it, but find employees depending on what you're doing. I think in the insurance industry, you can, restaurants, you could
like
use
waiters,
waitresses,
or cooks.
Anybody really. I've had a multitude of employees that were from all different sorts of backgrounds, all different sorts. But I've seen the best ones are the ones that do come out of like school and they're fresh and they are sponges for learning and they want to grow and in that particular business that you have. So yeah, you can go to high schools and hire on somebody who is looking for hours. Obviously in the gardening and landscaping, I'm not sure like what labor laws they can.
How young?
Well, if they're a student and they have like a student work permit, yeah, they can probably do anything. But I don't know if somebody wants to do that as some of their hours. But, so you can find employees anywhere. I feel like you're always just kind of looking. And when you're talking to people, sometimes you can fill them out. Like, how are you working? Do you like your job here?
You've done that, like scouted them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oftentimes.
More than people have came in looking for a job?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's good because you like see their potential and like you're like proactively like upping the team, instead of like only hiring when you're desperate.
Yeah, I had this employee long time ago. She worked at one of the department. She worked at Home Depot, and she just was mixing my paint one day, and I just was like, You're very, I feel like this is like kind of, you have a little bit of higher IQ for this position, And have you ever thought of being in insurance? Like, have you ever thought of working in an office? And more than anything, it was kind of like, I just haven't had the opportunity. Nobody's really given me the opportunity. I'm young. And yeah, so I hired her and she became like my mini me. And she knew a lot about organization that she even taught me. And it was great. She brought in other family members that ended up being phenomenal employees. And it was perfect. But
awesome.
she was found at Home Depot, you know. And there's been other times, when you go to a restaurant and just start chatting with somebody, and then it just hits you like, oh, maybe you should be doing something else, or you give it a try. So, yeah. But anyway, I thought I'd mention that because it's important to know where you can find employees. They're everywhere.
Yeah. For me, it's mainly been, in the beginning, it was just kind of all over the place. But like in the recent years, just referrals through employees already.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great because if I have like a set of good guys, they're going to refer other good guys.
Mm-hmm. Typically, yeah, birds of a feather flock together. So if they are surrounding themselves with good people, then more than likely they got good friends, good family members. Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about how being a woman in the insurance industry, how's that affected you, do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, and this industry is it's tough. There's, 8 out of 10 agents are males and there's just 2 females. For me personally, I've always just kind of set the standard of, hey, I don't care if I'm a woman, you're going to treat me with respect. And if you cross a line, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you, like, don't do that, And thankfully, haven't had to do that very much. So it's, it takes a lot of courage. It does take a lot of courage to be a woman in a male dominated industry. I think that I have the highest belief in myself that I wouldn't care if there were men or women in the industry. I absolutely have enough confidence in myself to not even look at that.
You're still going to play no matter what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's just one of those things. But, to the people out there that could be listening, if it's a male dominated industry, that shouldn't come into play whatsoever. Have the confidence in yourself, educate yourself, be that trained professional that people want to go to, so that it doesn't matter if you're female or male. I don't think that I was given any more or less privilege for being a female. I think if anything, as a female, you have more to show because you have children and you have the housework and you have to build yourself, whatever you're trying to build, a legacy for your family. And you had to juggle it all, so it's more of a personal thing that you either can look past or you just take it on head on, so I think, if in most cases, I think it helped me. I think that
because your face is on a lot of the advertisements and it probably catches a lot of people's attention.
Thanks, Diego. I think that's a compliment. Yeah. I think that, and my heart too, I'm not here for
money.
It's all that stuff is God can give it and he can take it, and if he chooses to give it, I'm here to receive it, but more than anything, it's the fact that I just wanted to help everybody, help as many people as I could, so I think that, it's not really an issue. It wasn't ever an issue. And I would do it all over again, the same exact way, you know. And had along the way just met a lot of people, a lot of other females that were agents too, and that were killing it even more than I was in bigger cities, and that they are very successful, you know, more successful than some men, you know. I just had to add that. So, but yeah, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes, you know. Different people in this world have different gifts, and you're either good at it or you're not, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think that I ever in my mind ever thought like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this. I remember one occasion as my business was growing, you know, sitting in front of a friend of mine, and she was a nurse and she was killing it. She was making, you know, more than $100,000 a year. And I told her, I don't know. I don't really feel like that's something that's going to ever happen to me. And I remember her looking me straight in the face and she says, you got it. And you're going to be able to do it. And I, you know, she's a really amazing person. And she, you know, helped me to kind of see my own potential, you know, and she wasn't even in the business. She wasn't in the business. She was a nurse. And it was pretty
Something
awesome.
that she saw in you.
Yeah, you know, and she trusted me too. I had her insurance, obviously. But, you know, I didn't think that was going to be a potential, you know, and fast forward, you know, 15 years or whatever it was since then. And it's like, oh,
that was
okay.
Easy.
Yeah. You know, never easy. Never. But it's a different kind of, it's a different.
Easier than you thought.
Yeah. It's, I think if you do things with a heart of gratitude and a heart of, you know, really wanting to help others, you know, the sky's the limit, you know, and it's one of those things that you just never know what's going to happen. But if you apply those two things.
You think that is more for insurance than it would, or do you think that's straight across? Like for me, like mowing, am I like pouring my heart into keeping their house clean?
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, you more. Okay.
Why?
Because let me tell you, and this is just going to be like, this is a sales technique 101. Okay.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Yes. You know, you know, I'm selling you on yourself and to other people, but you know, your name is on it. Whether you can see it physically that, you know, DC came through and did this lawn, your name is on it. The people that are neighbors to the house, they see what is, what you guys have put out. And that is left for everybody else to see. So yeah, does it matter that you put your heart into it? Absolutely. Because if your house looks like shit, it's not going to show well to everybody.
Yeah.
But if it looks great, you know, like it's going to be like, oh, who did that? You know, you need some lawn signs. DC was here, you know, or something like that. Or
I do.
Have them put a flag outside. Like,
outside your house.
Yeah. DC was here. DC Lawn Care was here, you know? But yeah, I think that you have more to showcase like from your heart than what you think, you know? It's not just about like giving back to the community. It's the heart and the soul, like how your employees treat their customers, you know? It's you showing up whenever you say that you're going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It's you, you know, not cutting corners because you want to save money. You know, it's you really just setting those people up to be happy with the service. So it's a lot of little things, you know, it's, but anybody who wants to be in business, you know, can absolutely showcase like their heart in what you do. And it doesn't have to be in monetary, you know, you don't have to give back, you know, money. You can give back in
A lot of different ways.
a lot of different ways. So, you know.
Alrighty. So I think we'll end it right there. That was
nice.
a great conversation.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Thank you guys for letting me come on and just talk and share my heart with you guys.
Yeah. Do you have any shout outs you want to do?
Oh,
Where can people find you?
well, nobody can find me now, but you know, I sold my agency to Diego Loya, Farmers Insurance. Shout out to them because they still keep the magic going, you know, and so those guys are there at the office, are highly trained, and they're always willing to help out anybody. So I think that they're doing a great job.
Shout out Diego.
Yeah, what's up, Diego?
All right. Well, thank you.
You're so welcome, guys.
Alrighty. And that concludes this episode. If you guys found any value in that episode, please go ahead and show some support. Follow us or like this on whatever platform you're watching this on. We do this for completely free. So all we ask is for you guys to show some support so we can continue to bring on better guests and better content.
Peace.